What if I told you a reality star, a fledgling music producer, and a tie-in for an autobiography may have helped pioneer hyperpop as we know it today? Hyperpop as a genre has taken the world by storm in the last few years. It's a music movement that really took form in the early 2010s. While many argue what really defines the genre, common hallmarks of hyperpop include maximalist pop energy that bleeds into avant-garde. Oftentimes, electronic dance and hip-hop elements blend into the sound. The genre didn't really have a solid name until Spotify more or less dubbed music in this movement as hyperpop in a playlist in 2019. When we think of hyperpop, we think of producers like A.G. Cook, Sophie, Daniel L. Harl. We also think of stars like Charlie XCX, Pink Panthers, Shy Girl, Namasenda, That Kid, 100 Gex, the list goes on, but we never think of Farrah Abraham. Who is Farrah Abraham? Farrah Abraham was a reality star who was infamously featured on MTV's hit reality series 16 and Pregnant and its spin-off Teen Mom. Abraham's story is very compelling. Her mother called her a harlot and stopped her from getting an abortion while pregnant. She couldn't do cheerleading anymore. The father of her child, Derek, passed away in a car accident, leaving her to raise her daughter, Sophia, mostly alone. She subsequently had to go to therapy because she had been suffering so much abuse from her mother on top of having to deal with Derek's family, who sued her for visitation rights. Abraham channeled all of that grief into a memoir, My Teenage Dream Ended, released both as a book, which hit 11 on the bestsellers list, and a debut studio album. The album was produced by Frederick M. Cuevas, who is working as a mixing engineer today, but back then was an ADR guy. My Teenage Dream Ended was his first proper music project, and he revealed that Farrah had recorded her vocals without even hearing what the album would sound like. Instead, her vocals were pitched to match the final instrumentals. Farrah apparently paid the studio anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for this project. Farrah merely instructed Cuevas to incorporate the sounds that were permeating the airwaves at the time, the title of the record likely being a direct reference to Katy Perry's iconic Teenage Dream, but also in reference to what she lost. Upon release, the album was universally panned by the general public, from the auto-tune vocals to what some called amateurish or bland production. One blog even went so far to call the opening single, Finally Getting Up from Rock Bottom, the most horrible combination of sounds to ever be assembled together in the history of audio recording. The critics were so confused by the album that many refused to score it. The Atlantic called it a bizarre piece of art with a compelling story. Perhaps My Teenage Dream Ended is to teen angst what Eraserhead is to domestic angst. The Village Voice compared the album to Witch House act Salem, even giving it some faint praise. The album kinda got lost to time. Abraham never really got a music career out of it. Many considered it a mere blip in the endless pop culture machine that's been going on since the dawn of time, until 2017 when Pitchfork reviewed Charlie XCX's masterpiece Pop 2 and referenced it in regard to Charlie's record. This sounds like Farrah, but good. And as a huge fan of that record and track 10, which really does bear a lot of the hallmarks of this album, I partially agree. I discovered Farrah's record through Pitchfork's Pop 2 review and a couple of friends of mine who follow hyperpop, and upon hearing it, while extremely flawed, My Teenage Dream Ended is a worthy precursor to the music that I love and enjoy today. Its confessional lyrics and overall bizarre nature keep it from being an album that you can repeat or revisit so often, but at just 27 minutes, I think it's a worthwhile audio odyssey into the inner workings of a woman in extreme grief. Before I talk about each track, I want to note that each track corresponds to an actual chapter in the book, but the lyrics are not found within the book, so she wrote them from scratch. We start the album with The Phone Call That Changed My Life, that opens with a soft piano instrumental before an electro synth beat abrasively cuts in. Farrah sings, I can only put so much in a song. I know no situation is ever the same. The song really captures the unfinished business that she had with Derek, the father of her child who had passed away. It's the phone call that she found out that he was gone. She ends it with, I can only put so much in a song, a powerful repetition. The next track, After Prom, which opens with Shh, Don't Tell, Don't Let It Get Out, before a Lady Gaga-esque beat ushers in lyrics about what she wants to get out of this world, how she wants to fit in perfectly, how life is about party, life, and love. I'm imagining that she's capturing her mindset upon discovering her pregnancy and the need of discretion so that others perceive her the same, but she knows that the battle's been lost. The narrative continues with Caught in the Act, yet another electro-pop banger about secrets. It opens with My parents are asleep, sneak sneak, knock knock, perhaps detailing her secret relationship with Derek at the time. It sort of reminds me of like a dark, hyper-pop version of Taylor Swift's love story, Romeo-Juliet vibes. It paints her love in a very tragic light, as the harsh beat really personifies her chaotic reality. She then does two ballads, Without This Ring, which continues the saga, kind of feels like a hyper-pop take on The One That Got Away, looking back on how her fear of mistakes could cost her life, whereas Liar Liar name drops Adele's Set Fire to the Rain. But unlike Adele, she knows that her lover had lied and deceived to her. We're fighting not refers to he loves me not, a classic game of picking flowers, pining for what you can't have. Unplanned Parenthood resembles the slick dark pop of Britney's Blackout without the elegance. The repetition of permanent, not permanent, love means permanent, more or less details the journey that she undergoes realizing who really loves her, whether that be a partner or her family. But the longest track has to be Searching for Closure, which opens with a heartbeat sample akin to that of the future Taylor Swift hit Wildest Dreams. This track is her acceptance of the passing of time and her love. She rebukes her lover's family and friends for treating her like dirt, but that doesn't matter because she'll always love him, and she misses him despite finding peace. On My Own is a pop banger that continues her journey where she details how she needs to go alone, how she's overwhelmed, overworked, underfed, trying to be a mother. She wants to blame it on anyone else and be alone, but she pushes on. This is the best that she can do. The instrumental has a very light, airy quality to it, like a ghost ascending, watching her, hearing her. The Sunshine State is a tribute to her time in Florida. FLA are literally her initials, so the beat really captures the party vibe that one would imagine in Florida. This abrasive beat is followed by a rap akin to something that we could hear from Tommy Cash or Charlie XCX, where she talks about Florida's glamour and a life that she wants. But the album closes with the closest thing to a traditional song, finally getting up from rock bottom, a testament to her pursuit of happiness. It's very stream of consciousness. I found myself really thinking about Walt Whitman and his works, how he detailed life as a world of memories, parts of a dream, fragments of a life lived and unlived. Farrah achieves this transcendentalist mindset ideal throughout the album, but really captures it here. Overall, I look at this record as an accidental triumph and an earnest look into a woman whose life has fallen apart. The medium that she chose to share her journey with us was unconventional, but the sound of the record is no doubt a distant ancestor to the titans of the hyperpop genre. Part shitpost, part experiment, but all truth. I adore hyperpop because it serves as a canvas for artists, many queer themselves, to use music to render their emotions and lives into art. Farrah's attempt here really deserves to be commended and considered within the canon, a mere preview of a beloved genre and art form that I really revere today. I can't in good consciousness rank this album on a scale from 0 to 10 because it's just so out there, but I will say that I do recommend, if you do have the chops to listen to something brave and new and abrasive and kind of crazy, go for it. It's not that bad of an album. Once again, thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I just wanted to do this really quick video to really talk about this record that has stayed in the back of my mind. I feel like music is a way of processing emotions, sometimes even grief, and I'm very thankful to you guys for listening to my videos and watching my content, whether it be about Taylor Swift or something as odd as this. I'll go back to making the videos that you guys wanted very soon. I just want to give a quick shout out to my members. Thank you so much, guys. We have a few new people in here. I want to thank Liquid3600 so much for being such a cool member. I'll be back with live streams on December 3rd, and I'll continue to post content. So like, subscribe, comment what your thoughts are on Farrah's album if you give it a chance. Comment other things that you want me to cover, and I hope you guys have a great life, I guess.